So last year the story was kind of weird, and that's good, but it was also out of order. And there's part of me that wonders if once we get out of that trick, if it's going to be as good, if there's a new trick this year. I mean, we already know who the man in the black hat is. We already know what happens. How much of that could possibly be replayed for fun? But this was also an intelligent story, one that had remnants of Frankenstein and Terminator and Groundhog's Day and all sorts of implications. Things that make you sit there and go, wait, this could be a little screwed up. Every episode last year made me think about something, made me sit there and go, wow, that's an interesting way to draw a parallel to this, or to make us think about what it means to be that. And I talked about my role playing experience, and we talked about things like the holodeck and what they would actually probably be used for. We talked about computers, and we talked about the way that we leave little tiny bits of hidden data here and there, and why legacy systems are a problem. We talked about how memories are formed. I mean, come on, we did a lot. We even talked about the money and how it did or didn't work. We talked about an entire genre of shows, and maybe most importantly, also sex workers' rights. Let's see what this season has to hold. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Westworld Season 2, Episode 1, Journey into Night. And you know, with a title like that, there's going to be some really messed up stuff. But let's just recap. The robots have figured out they're robots. They know what's going on, and there's been an uprising. And we know that there was a trick. In fact, one of the robots is the designer. Well, not really, but sort of. The designer was what that robot was based on. And because of that, we have an interesting thing where someone is still able to fix them, like a doctor in World. Westworld's gone completely and totally crazy, and as such is in pretty much full rebellion at the end of last season. Now, I threw this up there last year, and I expect I'll have to this year. I even postulated a theory that the writer gave a perfect take that to the Game of Thrones fans that like HBO shows. But we'll see. What I do here is I review stories as they come out. I do Throwback Thursdays most Thursdays, and I'm actually in a process of changing so that my theory videos will post once a month, so I'll have a little more time to work on it. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn how and why we write stories, or you want to contribute and tell me what you think, click that subscribe button and let's get started. But as of right now, the story of Westworld is a messed up story about a robot rebellion, about forming life, and about what the hazards of actually being the creator of something new is. Let's throw this up there and get started. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. The beginning of Season 2 really is the beginning of Bernard's real story. The fact is that he has been mistaken for human. No one really knows that he's a synth. So, at this point, we have him with his flashbacks and him having to deal with the consequences of what his people are doing. And it's pretty crazy if you think about it. I mean, how do you deal with the fact that you are going to be acceptable in human society and you can hide, but other people exactly like you are going to be gunned down and massacred? I mean, really. Now, I love the fact that they talk about the fact that Dolores was the greeter, although I would have thought that would be the people outside the park. Dolores has gone a little bit around the bend, though, and she's all like, hey, not all of us deserve to make it across the border. She gives a whole speech about what the measure of a man is, and the fact that when you think about it, these violent games are all something that were needed because people are inherently evil. I don't know if I agree with that, but it definitely is the theme of this show. And I really love the fact that she says she has one role left to play herself. Everything stripped away. Dolores at that point is just Dolores, not the farmer's daughter, not the love interest, just Dolores. Then we follow where Billy wakes up. Good old William is as crazy as ever. He still wants to play this as if it were a game, and he wants to just find the excitement. Gonna have some real fun now. So, all in all, the whole scheme of the season is the same as last year, just with some new twists and turns and a few new characters to talk about. Then we get to Maeve moving. And remember, she's looking for her daughter, and she has higher level command structure information. And so she's using that to gain allies. I love it when she tells the park director, "My programming tells me to put my needs above everyone else's. I wonder whose fault that is." And that's so true. I mean, seriously, this is like rules of robotics 101. But again, this is creating life. This is Frankenstein's monster. This is Adam. And Maeve is a great example of a character that is probably down and dirty as a bad guy, but you want to root for her. I love the fact that we ask questions. We ask questions like, what is real? What is fake? And there is still a little bit of out of sequence storytelling. And we have to question the fact of who exactly is who, really. Like any good first episode of a season, it leaves more questions than answers. It introduces us to the idea of drones. It introduces Bernard to the idea that there are things going on in the park he didn't know. And even more questions get raised about who has the rights and who doesn't, not just amongst the robots. Even the people. How much information is too much, and in this day and age, the idea of data mining a park like this is scary. It's the Facebook thing all over again. And the craziness of what Delos is up to. And what's going on with Charlotte Hale. Just totally reeks of this is where the trick's going to be the way William was last year. But we also have the Desperado back, and I'm curious exactly what time frame each show is running on, which part of the show. Because again, that was with the trick last year, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen this one. And near the end, we get this great moment, this bookend moment, where the now crazy Dolores is standing there with her boyfriend Teddy and explains that this is how the story ends with them. But you know what we didn't get? We didn't get much in the way of what was going on with the samurai world like I thought we would. More, I'm worried about what these automatons are. I'm not quite sure what they mean for the show, but they definitely mean that something is changing. This storyline is well off the basic idea of what's been going on, but it's also gotten a little more terrifying. And that's cool, because the original story was pretty badass on its own. I love the fact that they're expanding on it. It's a story about what happens when you create life, what happens when machines grow beyond their border. But it's also a story of ethics and morals, and what happens when you put someone in a situation where they don't count, when you can just live the fantasy. But it's a mystery as well. And right now, my question to you, are there two Bernards running around, or are we seeing it out of order? Is this a trick based on the same trick as last time, or is this a trick based on we assume it would be? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments, along with what you think is going on with each individual storyline. Each one is full of twists and turns, and I'm sure we will not figure them all out. But for now, give me a thumbs up and share this video, and of course, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, because I want to build a community, one where we can take a look at what it means to be watching Westworld, what it means to have written Westworld, and everything that's coming up next in Westworld. So question reality with me as we explore the heart of the stories we tell. I hope you have a good night, and welcome back to Westworld.